Let's delve into a captivating journey as we explore the Nile or Nile River, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt. We're going to uncover further truth of what that region was organically or originally really called. And when we look at the planetary grid as it's related to twin flames, and also how this hooks into the cosmic mother, of course, a very vital figure in ancient mythology. Now, from the rich agricultural lands along the Nile River and into the organic planetary grid of that region, we're going to deep dive into the secrets that it truly holds. Let's imagine that we're gathering around the eternal flames of the sacred fire once again, so that we can bask in its radiant glow, for it illuminates not only the night sky, but also illuminates our souls. And in this enchanted space, we are transported to primordial times where tales of wonder and magic were woven into the very fabric of existence. And the warmth of the fire caresses our spirits, beckoning us to share stories of our journeys and quests. If you're new to my channel, welcome and hello. If you're returning, a huge thank you for supporting this channel and for watching this next video. I serve as a sacred soul path illuminator. I'm an oracle of original creation, primordial wisdom story keeper, and a guide for vibrational medicine. What this really breaks down to very simply is that I assist those that have a sacred mission here on earth to launch, and I help them do that. And I also assist in sacred soul healing through vibrational medicine, while being a holder of origin codes as an oracle, which allows me to really bring through the gifts as a seer. And what I see is original creation that once was here and will be again. And I know that some may wonder what this content really has to do with my sacred mission and how I'm here to assist others. And so I thought I'd give a quick explanation. So when all of the organic and original creation codes started coming into my field big time, and I've always been a primordial story keeper since I was a little girl. In fact, my name Natalie means origin and related to Christ consciousness or unity consciousness. So our names often tell us so much. As I uncover these deeper truths and then I share them, what this does is this helps others awaken their memories that are lying dormant within, or serves as a tool of validation. You know, sometimes we need to hear others speak of what we know inside of ourselves. It's not that we seek to be told, we seek to be seen and to be heard and to not feel crazy, because we are in an inverted, upside down realm. For example, until the very corrupt government systems fall in all the old ways, unnecessary suffering is it's still too much for the animals, for the sacred lands of this earth, for humanity, etc. So when I utilize the gift of a seer, which is an oracle, it's all the same. When you serve as a seer in the vibrational medicine work, for example, or when I use that gift in marketing work, which I say magic, I don't say marketing anymore. When I work with others that are bringing their true work into the light, it all weaves together, because this is how I can assist others to see their true selves. It's about knowing thyself, and that is what that reflection is. So if we were to encapsulate this in one word, it's I assist others to know themselves. There's lots of books that will be pushed out from my being in their due time, which is soon. So let's get into our topic today. So I released a part 1 to this called Unveiling Cosmic Truths, the Sirius, Gateway, and Ancient Galactic Alignments. Within that part 1, we explored the deeper and very often overlooked cosmic and galactic alignments occurring in specific times of the year. I was talking about July and August as a framework, and challenging this mainstream stuff, for example, the Lionsgate portal. Also in that part 1, looked at the origins of terms like Egypt and explore the hidden meanings of celestial events, as well as the Sirius system and hidden cosmological truths. So now in this part 2, we're unveiling more expansive cosmic truths as connected to the region we now call Egypt. We're going to really look at the Nile River in a far deeper context. And again, say it Nile or Neil, I may interchange. It's either or. So anyway, and if we'll look at that as in a far deeper context, as it really connects into the planetary grid, the organic, energetic grid of this planetary being, how this relates to twin flames, how this relates to cosmic mother energy, and how that is actually weaved into the sacred waters, into the sacred lands. And as always, we're of course going to be connecting back into primordial truths that have been hidden. All right, let's first dive into those sacred waters of the Nile. The sacred water of that river and of that region really holds spiritual and cultural importance. And in fact, it is revered as being called the father of life and the mother of all. And so this river was once known and connected into the allegorical story of Isis and Osiris, and of course many more. But the Nile is life-giving. So as I mentioned in part 1, every year, along with the powerful galactic alignment of the rising of the Sirius Gateway, so what happens as that happens is the Nile also rises. This time is known as the heliacal rising of Sirius. And so it doesn't really matter where in this earthly realm that you live. It's a time that ancient ones knew, tracked, followed for very profound reasons. The Sirius Gateway and codes that come into our realm is really for a spiritual development. So think of spiraling consciousness. And it's very much connected into the Nile River. This was part of organic and original creation as connected to the lands, as connected to the sacred waters. I call this the sea realm, the sky realm, and the land realm. Ancients knew this, and this has been hidden from us. There are no coincidences, as I always say. It's just the illusion of coincidences, which is one of my favorite quotes of all time from V for Vendetta. Okay. So, ancient Egypt. Or does it have another name? So in part 1, we went into detail about the truth that Egypt really isn't the name. Or at least it was not the name originally and organically of that region. I'll share just a tidbit from the part 1, but if you want more insights, please do watch the part 1 to this Unveiling Cosmic Truths 2-part series, which could be like a 100-part series. I'll explain more later. Egypt was a tiny part, but the entire region was actually called Khemit. Spelled lots of ways. I'm using Khemit. Khemit is really this advanced civilization of wisdom and astronomy, cosmology, and what I would say is magic. And this whole region were also known as the Black Lands. Now, the Black Lands actually or talk about the soil. That's what Khem means. So the soil is in that region is very dark and it's very fertile soil. So, and that flows from the Nile River. Truth has always been orally through words spoken, because written documentation in scrolls and such can be burned, broken, which they were, right? And we lose the truth of all of these primordial aspects to our origins, and this was of course on purpose. But when you speak these things and you pass that down through a lineage, what happens is at some point you actually might receive wrong information. However, there's grains of truth that are always captured within that. So this man named Abd el Hakim Awan Ayan, points out that Egypt is a word that actually came later, and the root word is het kapata, which really, what that means is the place of the projection of the god Ptah, but only refers to a small place. So it didn't speak to the entire area, which was Khemit. And it was KMT is how it was written. And so another aspect that Hakim speaks of, when we look at the Nile River, there was an older, larger river that was once in existence. And there's an Egyptologist named Michael Hoffman who also talks about this, and it goes back to, I think, the 1990s when he was presenting that theory. And so this more ancient river, Hakim says, is called the Nile. Water was beyond sacred. And so those that were in Khemit knew this. And so where the Nile would be, there is an ancient site that's known as Dashur in the region. Within the structure, there was a word that was inscripted there, and the word is Sneferu. Now, Sneferu, Egyptologists translate it as he of beauty. But Hakim has said it to be a very different translation. And my inner knowing is that I believe the oral traditions that are kept alive is the true wisdom that is passed down. And so I know that this is true because of the true and real Druid lineage of which I am of, did the same. What Hakim says is that Sneferu means double harmony. Very different, isn't it? It's actually referring to the sacred land itself as it's related to the Nile. So the land or the region of Khemit brings double harmony. This is one of the most important elements that we're going to hone in on. So as I receive original creation codes on this, what I connect into is the original and organic grid of the planet itself, the energetic body of the planetary being. So the grid is the energetic grid, which makes this realm come to life. It's the same as us. And there was a time where there was not corruption. And that is what I have bore witness to, and I remember. So the working hypothesis of those that are the truth seekers of Chemitology, instead of looking at Egyptology, if you will, they also know of this before time. Hakim is actually known as a keeper of keys because what he can do is he turns on energetic sites in the region, because he is of the blood of the original tribes of the land. And what he speaks to is that in Dashur, there are two structures, the red and bent pyramids of this region, and they were built far more than 10,000 years ago, and they are energetic devices, or were energetic devices before they were corrupted, because energetic devices is what we're talking about here. So what does that really mean? Okay, so this means that there were organic structures that were built on purpose that once held the organic and original, if we could say, electromagnetic grid of this planetary being in a very specific way, and we'll dig into that in a moment. So this true and organic grid that we're digging into of the before time is before it was corrupted, before it was hijacked by the otherworldly beings that hijacked Earth, Terra, Gaia in this harmonic universe grid. And they created a false grid on top of the organic grid. So this is the false matrix aspect that you've heard so much about. Let's go back into this double harmony. Okay, now we're really getting to some deep and amazing things that have really led me onto a journey, which was a reclamation. It's like everything within me turned on. So double harmony is speaking to the planetary grid and how it energetically assisted in that region in very important aspects of organic creation and in the bringing light into matter and creating humans. The ancient Khemit region and culture relied on the principle of Ma'at, which means order. So Ma'at was the concept, I should say, of law, morality, and justice harmony, order. And it was personified as a goddess. So Ma'at, as a divine principle, is about regulating the orderly operation of nature, the cosmos, and the principles of keeping and sustaining balance when it comes to complementary male and female principles, both within the universe and in human society and the growth and evolution of this society. So our physical and energetic bodies were designed in a male, female, what we could say is genders, but we're also speaking to the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine energies. All humans were, and still are, created in the eyes of the truly divine essence of everything as harmonic universe beings. So the energetic devices in this region of Khemit that we're talking about here kept order of the male and female principles, which is about the sacred masculine and feminine principles. But as we explore further, we're going to see that this area was about twin flame connection. I did a video called The Magick of Merlin, and I speak in that video of a powerful vision and story that came through me through the Merlion lineage and the true Celtic Druid lineage. Because when I went to the region known as Albion, and in this specific case in England, which is now of course called UK, but when I was in that region in October 2023, I was standing on Avebury Henge on Silbury Hill, and that poem that came through was very, very powerful. And the essence of it, and please do listen to that because you'll get more insights of what I'm speaking to, but basically what this spoke about is sacred towers all over this realm that are being turned back on again and fixed after being decimated by the vile ones. These sacred towers are organic places in and of the land. That is the very land itself. And these are energetic powerhouse places, structures created by what we would probably call magic today, but really it's advanced technology. And it was about this sacred land. These are very real, they're all over this world, and they are created with massive importance and critical divine intention for the true creation process. I'm not talking about the false. I'm not talking about AI. I'm not talking about the BS that you see these vile factions still trying to recreate today. Yet again, trying to recreate timelines of destruction over and over and over. This nonsense is ending, as we well know, but it's extremely challenging still. So these dragon nodes, these are the mounds, these are structures that held organic grid operations or architecture, each having its own specific way of operating. When everything was turned on, when everything was working, everything was in harmony, and it was a very different world. But this is all coming back online, and as many of us are fixing ourselves, healing ourselves, we're actually healing the grid. So this is just a really vital aspect to know. In this region of Khemit, Ma'at, or order, and double harmony are ingrained in the stories that then become myths. The myths become legends, but these are very real and true stories, but they're often held in allegorical stories. So you see, before the vile ones hijacked and destroyed many aspects of the organic harmonic universe grid, the primordial truths of the planetary grid in the region of Khemit means that this was assisting in the organic blueprint of a human. And it was this: we were always created in pairs, meaning each individual that is born into creation has a part of themselves in both a male body and a female body. And this is called twin flame, or we could also call these genetic equals. And we'll go into that further. But my husband and I, we are twin flames. We are genetic equals. And this story of how I found him, how we connected and joined in our sacred union 13 years ago, at least at the time of this recording in 2024, is truly a beautiful story. It required me moving 3,000 miles away from one big city to another big city. But I'll save that story for another time for us both to tell you in our new and upcoming Forge and Flow Sanctum. And you can find out more by going below. So a twin flame was something that created order, balance. For every one, there is another, so that harmony could continue throughout the realms. And this twin flame aspect is of the true, natural, and organic, not of the new age crap that you've probably heard or the weird cults that got created. There's so much BS to get through when it comes to this stuff. So there are divine spiritual pieces held within each pair. So the design is that we advance each other spiritually as we are perfect mirrors to each other. And it is actually how we advance very quickly. We push the other one up, we pull the other one up, or vice versa. And so we're always in this push, pull, pull, push relationship. So evolution of spirit or soul, whatever words you want to say, happens so quickly. And it's meant to be that way. So this is what the planetary grid in Khemit did. It kept balance in this way. So the genuine twin flame aspects are associated with deities such as Osiris and as Isis, or Ra and Hathor, etc. There's so many stories that give us truths, but it really requires us to look past literal, and we have to look into the spiritual meanings. So these divine pairs symbolize the union of the masculine and feminine energies. And in fact, the story of Isis and Osiris is an allegory for the divine union of twin flames. But it also speaks to what happened when the vile faction came in and destroyed this grid and the region, and when the tribes that kept the Khemit lands protected were mostly eradicated, but of course some always escape, hide, go underground, whatever you want to say. But the vile ones went after males first. So these kings, the guardians, but I'm not talking about the stupid kings that you see today that are full of deceit, corruption, lies. I'm talking about true kings, served as protectors, served as guardians. That is the true meaning of the word warrior, by the way, and in male form. And then, so they were gender equals of the females. These kings were the Osiris in the story, and then Isis of the story is the female guardians and protectors, the warriors, the gender equals of the males, so the queens, we could also say. So the origin root races in the Khemit region had protected the planetary codes and grid that holds that secret knowledge. And this is all kept within the Giza solar stargate, connecting or bringing together twin flames in this realm, and is that energetic force of the land working with the energetic structures, aka those structures that I just talked about earlier, that bring these things together organically. So the original creation of this realm is beautiful when we really truly can see the codes. We can see the beautiful mosaic that was created, and it's really, really wonderful to remember. And every time I'm remembering and I'm feeling, it just brings tears to my eyes. So I'm just a flowy mountain of emotion constantly. In fact, that's what my husband, the twin flame that I'm speaking of, Mark, calls me all the time. So the story of Isis and Osiris is a remembering of the females searching for their gender equals that had their consciousness spread across this astral realm when they were murdered. So the kings to them as queens, if we will. And so I'm going to do a deep dive on this in our new Forge and Flow Sanctum that we're creating, because there's so much more that I need to share, and I want to get deeper, I want to get more expansive, but I can't do it here on these mainstream channels. And that's an unfortunate thing that we are dealing with today. What we can glean from this all is that when the malevolent forces hijacked our realm, they really caused genocides and massacres, as we well know, but we need to talk about it. And they inverted or broke the essence or technology of our planet that adjusts aspects of correct energetic connection, the energetic connections that actually binded twin ray souls or twin flames together. And so when this stopped working properly, it caused a lot of pain and heartache, and it has changed the way it works. And so now we're working with a different template, if you will. And I'll talk about more on that in a moment. But many would actually flood in to Khemit region and into the Nile River, and there were structures built along it. They'd go into these structures, they'd do different rituals so that they could actually be reconnected with their twin flames that had been lost. So this is just another aspect of the Isis and Osiris story, and it really shares truths with those that can see and feel the truth with our inner knowing. So the human light body, or the energetic or subtle bodies as we often call them, are so important to know because this connects into the energetic or subtle body, the organic grid of this earth. What I'm really talking about is the balancing of the inner masculine and feminine energies with the entire structure of our physical nature, and then the twin flames, we could say, because we're working in some different constructs today, that is manifesting in the physical. So you have the inner and then you have the physical, right? So one of the major aspects to note is this means that the inner male and inner female energies must be balanced. When Mark and I met, it was crazy because when we united as twin flames, what happens in warp speed is our inner female and our inner male energies actually begin to harmonize at an extremely rapid pace. Twin flames don't have to be male-female. We're dealing with different energies. When the grid got changed, so now in this reclamation time, twin flames can be 2 males, it can be 2 females. But I think that on a bigger scale, what we're really talking about here, what heals the grid, is when we talk about and harmonize and do all the things to heal or mend the inner union. This is a big piece that we need to bring to light. So the manifestations are beyond magnificent and greatly amplified in spiritual power. And what I was speaking to earlier, my husband and I are living through this right now. And one must recall that the sacred energies of the masculine and the feminine really is what inner union means. And this is also called Hieros Gamos. I have so much more on this that I can share in our sanctum when we are finished building that. The energetic power of receiving and transmitting frequencies in rhythm with the sacred lands of the before time was just organically part of this experience. Now what we're seeing, it's much harder to find true twin flames, and many are now connecting with them in other timelines or other dimensions or realms. This should not be the case, though. All should actually have their equals or twin flames here, manifested in form. But that isn't the case. And so it's intriguing to think about this, right? What it has meant is that for far too many thousands of years, this realm is getting more and more unbalanced in all these different ways, and there's all these different layers, which is why there's a lack of harmony in almost all ways today. Now, we are reclaiming that, but that is something that we must talk about. So everyone was meant to have this type of union. It's sad, I think, that the sacred divine creation aspect was tampered with and has caused so much grief. This has meant that so many don't get to experience what I'm experiencing right now. Then what can we do? Is lean more towards the inner union of the energies rather than that outer expression as well, because that is incredibly healing. And it can mean that the power will ripple out. And that is another big piece of healing and reclaiming. And the organic true grid turns back on, and essentially it's just another huge piece to mending and the reclamation mission that many of us are here on. One of the biggest things that must be done is that we need to get clear in chakras. It's the sacral, it's the root, and there's so many vibrational layers, and this is why I do vibrational medicine, because it's about seeing all the layers, all of the multidimensionality of who we truly are, all of us, every living thing. and how we can bring the true 12 grid tree of life that lives within us and connecting that into the true 12 grid tree of life in the planetary being. This is why chakras are far more important. And there's been so much misinformation on these kinds of things, but these are stargates that allow us to be in form. So purging, cleansing the body and the energetic fields is so imperative. And so really this becomes the biggest ask at this time. The cosmic mother and the relation to the Nile and the twin flame reclamation. I bring this up because this is really critical for the purpose of the reclamation of universal twin flames aspect. And it's connecting back into what we can call the organic and original God world, or the divine realms, creator worlds. A big target or goal was actually already done. And so the twin flame aspect, we could say, we have passed that moment when these aspects are now being course corrected in the organic grid that is turning back on. And I know this because I was there to witness it. I felt it. So in Albion, or it was also called Camelot at one time, I was in that timeline. What you can see here in these pictures is Avebury Henge. Blue Dragon Tiamat, or the Logos called Tiamat, was resurrected energetically on the day that I was there. And she is in this picture. There was also an absorption of a dragon egg, so much more that took place within my energetic being. And so I'll share more of that in our Forge and Flow Sanctum because I cannot share it here. This is when it took place. The lands of Albion called me, Camelot called me to be there on a specific day in October 2023. I mentioned Merlion lineage, the Celtic Druid magical, if we will, lineage. The portal architecture of the planetary grid entered a huge milestone in that recovery. So what it's doing is correcting the twin flame aspect as part of a reclamation of the Emerald Founder races. These planetary activations are 100% aligning to the correct placements within timelines where there are missing twin flames. And also the DNA, original creation blueprint of humanity, and the inner male and female energies are also being corrected. These energies have been coming back online for a long time, but I just wanted to mention that October 2023 was at the height of this huge milestone that had been being uncovered or happening for quite a long time. This is why I wanted to really tap into Avebury Henge and Camelot, or Albion, because that is actually connected into the Nile River, Khemit. It's all connected. And then this is why I also want to share that this all also connects into the cosmic mother. So the retrieval of all of this authentic architecture, the energetic grid, the organic and original technology happens through sound, vibrations, frequencies. It's all connected into the cosmic mother coming back online and hooking back into the ancient lands of Albion, Camelot. And of course, this connects into Egypt, or Khemit. Camelot, Khemit. See that? Yeah. So the concept of the Holy Mother, or the Mother of All, that relates into the Nile River, relates into the story of Isis. That's why that allegorical story is so vital to dive into and see the truths within it. And the mother or cosmic mother energies in this context is also closely connected into the Nile's life-giving properties. So therein lies the connection to the goddess Isis and the maternal role, the giving, the birthing energies, the rising of birthing energies, creation. And so these energies tap into the blue ray of creation, and there's actually a connection into the blue Nile. And I would say that this is the ancient river that I was speaking to earlier, the Nile. So the Holy Mother or organic cosmic mother energies as connected into the Nile was seen as a symbol of the Holy Mother herself. So it's about providing nourishment, protection, fertility, rebirth, and these cycles, and also connecting into the Seer's gateway and all of the beauty that all of that connection really holds. And of course, what I had talked about in the part 1 to this. As we discussed, the primordial Khemitic culture relied on this principle of Ma'at, or order, the grouping of deities in families or pairs. There's Asar, Aset, and Heru, Trinity. So you can see it reflected in these stories, which are so essential to look at. Part of Ma'at was the complementary male and female principles, as we now know, both in the universe and in the human society. So this is connecting into these galactic energies, these cosmic energies, truths. And as you can see, the time of the flooding of the Nile each year, there's a spiritual initiation of the Nile, the ancient lands of Khemit. There's a connection into our sun and Sirius. And so all of this is connecting back into the Holy Mother of the Nile. And the alignments of the Nile are actually very intriguing. So there's 3 main tributaries of the Nile. So the Atbara, the Blue Nile, and the White Nile. So they seem to actually follow a very distinct energetic pathway. So the Atbara River, originating in Ethiopia, is said to tap into the Earth's primary energy grid. Then the Blue Nile, and that source comes from Lake Tana, and that's believed to be connected into a secondary powerful element of the organic grid. Then the White Nile, originating in Lake Victoria, is thought to resonate with the tertiary grid, which means basically the last level of frequency control. There's so much more that I can share, and my twin flame and we're just getting things rolling in terms of building and creating our new Forge and Flow sanctum, but these are the kinds of things that we need to tap into more and more and more. 13 years ago, at the time of this recording in 2024, which is also the number of the divine feminine, so no coincidences, right? 13 years ago, I met Mark, my gender equal, and we have had a weaving and winding path to get to where we are, and we're really excited for this next level. We're intertwining together very beautiful ways. It's been a long time coming. But this sanctum that we're creating is really where we're going to be able to fill it with more warmth and light, celebration, healing. And when we talk about this stuff, this helps harmonize the sacred energies within and without. And what we're doing is we are truly acknowledging the shared consciousness of living creation and the bonding experiences that evolve and grow when we have true comrades around us. And the intention is to assist, to liberate the imprisoned splendor from within you, which will further impact this realm in the most magnificent of ways. So if you want to learn more, please go into the description below. I hope that this inspires the awakening of more of your magic. So please subscribe to get more videos that are meant to illuminate the path for all indigos and starseeds, all of you humans that are here with sacred missions to serve as the pioneers in this massive paradigm shift of consciousness. Together we are remembering the original creation, Magick. Thank you so much for watching.